One of the features that we've added in Harvester 1.4 is the ability to enable the Longhorn V2 Data Engine. This is something that's been under development for a while now, but it provides significant performance enhancements over the V1 Data Engine. And so, of course, a whole lot of people are interested in trying this in Harvester, so we thought it'd be a good idea to let you turn it on. There's a bunch of documentation about this, which you can see here. This includes the various prerequisites and some limitations of the current version. And what I'm going to do in this video is a quick walkthrough of enabling and using the V2 Data Engine, more or less what's in this documentation page. The most important thing to mention up front is that you need to dedicate at least one CPU core and 2 gig of RAM, and you want at least one additional local NVMe disk for data storage on any of the nodes, or each of the nodes I should say, that you want to use the V2 Data Engine on. For some background, it's definitely worth looking at the Longhorn documentation. We're looking at 1.7.2 here because that's the version included with Harvester 1.4. And there's a lot of detail here actually about the exact steps necessary to manually enable the V2 Data Engine. Most of this, the enabling kernel modules and allocating huge pages and everything, will be taken care of by Harvester actually. So still worth reading, but a lot of it you don't have to worry about. So let's switch over to the Harvester GUI. I've got a 3-node cluster here. It's not doing much yet. And the first thing we need to do is go to Advanced Settings and enable the V2 Data Engine. So down to Longhorn V2 Data Engine enabled, marked experimental because it's a new thing. It's not quite, doesn't quite have feature parity with the V1 Data Engine yet, so hence the caveat. Turn that on. And what you'll probably see is this sort of error warning here about not enough huge pages. This is transient, it'll go away after a minute or so. What happens when you turn that setting on is it loads the kernel modules, it tries to allocate the huge pages, it restarts RKE2, and in due course this message will go away, as it just did then. If it doesn't, for whatever reason, that means that your node didn't actually have enough free unfragmented memory and you would need to reboot it to pick up the setting change. Anyway, we're all good now. It's enabled, there's no errors. So let's go and add our additional disks for use by the V2 Data Engine. So back on the host screen, we go first host, edit config, go to the storage tab, add a disk. Make sure we've got the Longhorn V2 provisioner selected, save, and I'm going to go through and do the same thing for each of the other 2 nodes, storage, add disk, V2, save, 3rd node, edit config, storage, add disk, V2, save. Alright, and of course if I go and click on one of those nodes I can see that we've now got our the V2 disk in there as well. So the other piece of configuration we need to do is to create an appropriate storage class. So go to Advanced Storage Classes, create again Longhorn V2 provisioner. I'm going to call this LHV2, and there's a bunch of stuff we can change here. We can change the number of replicas if we care and these other bits and pieces, and I'm going to leave them alone for this demo, but the point is we've got a storage class that uses the V2 provisioner which is going to use those disks. So go. Now that's all the configuration we need to do, so we can go and create virtual machines. And as you would usually do, give it a name. I'm just going to create a little thing here because it's just for demo purposes. Right now with Harvester version 1.4 and Longhorn 1.7.2, the root disk based on a VM image, that's always still going to be backed by the V1 Data Engine, and that's just due to the way that virtual machine images are currently stored. In future versions, we'll have the option for v2 for that as well, but that's where we are now. Any additional volumes that you want to add, however, can be backed by the v2 Data Engine simply by choosing the storage class you've just created, and let's make a nice big volume for our fancy fast storage. Create the VM, and away we go. And of course, the other thing you can do on the volume screen, you can create volumes here independently of VM creation. And I'm going to call it another v2 volume, and we do that simply by, again, selecting the appropriate storage class. Let's make an even bigger one, and that'll go and create that v2 volume. And of course, then you can go and attach that to existing virtual machines in the same way that you would attach any other type of volume. And that VM that we just started up is happily running now. It's got a couple of disks. Let's go and look at that. You can see the storage classes of each one. Oh, well, you know, the image and the storage class of the other one here. And we're off and running. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy experimenting with the Longhorn V2 Data Engine in Harvester 1.4.